And we are live. Welcome back to the Overdue Sports Show, episode 22 of the Overdue Sports Show. I'm your host, as always, Jake Sawinski, and I messed up the order of the wording there. As always, joining me, Will Massa. How we doing, Will?
Great, man. It's deadline day. This is my last podcast recorded in this apartment, which is huge. I'm at my desk currently, but normally I'm in a bedroom with a nightstand that is the exact width of my laptop. So, very excited to have my own space to do this in and not have to be in the middle of the apartment because I live in a very small one. But nonetheless, it is deadline day. We're about 3.5 weeks out from college football. Week 0 is coming in hot. So, we've got a ton to cover over the next couple of weeks. We're gonna kick off with baseball, but we've got college football stuff on deck today, so stay tuned for that.
Exactly. Like you said, it's been a busy but kind of underwhelming trade deadline, I guess, and we're a little more excited for the football part of this. We're gonna do Heisman talk and national championship picks. So we're looking forward to that a little bit more. But let's start with some baseball. We were talking pre-show, and we kind of decided the best way to tackle this, instead of going through like each and every redundant move, is just it's like there's so many microtransactions you can't even keep up with them. But we were kind of not even just talking about the big names that moved, and there are a few of them, but we were gonna tackle this like team wise, right? Like, who are some winners of this deadline? Who are some losers of this deadline? Or if you say losers, it's like, hey, who was selling that you weren't exactly expecting to sell? Who were buyers you weren't, you know what I mean? So that was kind of what we were deciding to go. So I'll let you start. Who do you think had a really good deadline?
Yeah, I'm obviously the Padres are the big one. You go and get Mason Miller to start off the day, and it just never ended. It was just a ridiculous deadline for them. I thought AJ Preller did a really, really good job, as he does. He tends to be one of the few GMs in baseball that seems to not care about giving up prospects, because I'm not sure how they're going to feel the full minor league system after what they did today. But you have to like what they did, especially in a really tight NL West race, and especially in a really tight NL race in general. All 6 teams that are fighting for wild card spots right now are within 4 games of each other. So you have to make the big push, and San Diego certainly pushed all the chips in, giving up their number 3, number 7, number 13, number 17 prospects, all for Mason Miller alone. And then you just run down the list of what else they had to give up. So, they ended up getting Ryan O'Hearn from the Orioles, Ramon Laureano. So tons of moves that I think really help them throughout the rest of the season, but it's hard to ignore them as not the clear winner of the deadline.
Yeah, and kind of to reference our lost tape episode about, small market teams, the Padres are like a perfect example of always trying to do what they need to do to put themselves in a position to win. It seems like every July we're in this same position talking about how the Padres levered everything toward, the right now. And does it always work out? Well, of course not. Clearly not. It, most of the time it doesn't work out for all but one of the teams that end up going all in. But that's what they need to do, right? Like you said, they're right there. They're making it work. I'm curious, like you said, about how they're going to feel the minor league team, because I feel like we've been saying that exact same thing for the last 3 years. Maybe that Hader trade they got a ton of them back. I don't know.
And the Soto one.
Yeah, exactly. That too. But it seems like they're always kind of exhausting all of their farm talent in order to really make that push. And honestly, like, the Dodgers aren't looking like the juggernaut 115, 120 team win that everybody thought they were going to be to start the season. So I feel like that door is really open, and it would be kind of a disservice to the city if they didn't try to go all in. You know what I mean? But another team that surprised me a little bit were the Twins. If you're in April and you're kind of looking into your crystal ball, seeing July, you didn't think the Twins would be on there. The Twins and the Orioles especially. Do you think they kind of did the right thing? Because I'm kind of juggling between these two thoughts. On one hand, it seems like they did do the right move because like that team's pretty. What's the word you want to use? Like anemic. I wouldn't say they're bad, but I wouldn't say they're good either. They're kind of just But on the flip side, it's like how fluky is it? You know what I mean? Because like they're 20 games back in the Central. The Tigers, I think everyone slotted the Tigers to be an up and coming team for this season, but I don't. They had the best record in baseball for what 3 months. I don't think anybody was really expecting that. Do they expect that to continue? I'm not really sure. So that's kind of where I'm on the fence with them about. It's like, did you hit the reset button a little early? Because I mean, the AL Central's typically a pretty wide open division. So like, I don't know. Maybe they did hit it too early. But on the other hand, like I said, they're just. Meh. I mean, they moved Correa. They moved one of the best closers in baseball. They moved Willie Castro. I mean, I don't know. Like, I really want to hear what you have to say about this because I'm not quite sure how I feel about it even.
I genuinely believe that the Twins have some of the worst ownership in all of baseball, and it has nothing to do with market size. I think they're just incompetent at what they do. Like you said, Willie Castro gone, Carlos Correa gone, Ty France gone, Griffin Jack's gone, Johan Duran gone, Louis Varland gone. They traded literally the entire roster and were flirting with trading Joe Ryan as well, which would have been the nail in the coffin, in my opinion. That would have been, and Harrison Bader. That would have been the worst thing they could have done was trade Joe Ryan because he's young. He's got one of the best fastballs in all of baseball.
He's like their
really good.
Future
You've got
guy,
Pablo Lopez, who was statistically the most unlucky pitcher in baseball last year. And it kind of felt like that was the Twins season in 2024. They kind of felt like coming into this year, like a Cardinals type team to me, where it was like, I don't really know what they need to do. They were kind of unlucky last year. Make a couple moves, see what you can do.
That makes sense.
I was not as high on the Twins coming into the year as a lot of the baseball community. I actually had them in fourth, I believe, in the preseason pick. I think I had all of the Royals, Guardians, and Tigers ahead of them in the standings. And a lot of people like the Twins to bounce back and win the division after the 2023 playoff appearance, which I can't knock you if you did, because again, you're returning Duran,
the whole team,
Griffin Jacks, you're returning Trevor Larnach, and all these, staples of the team that you had. And it doesn't work 1 year is a fluke, 2 years is a pattern. And so I think, to your point, I believe that there is a limit on when we talk about selling, because they literally traded the entire roster. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't even know who they're going to play this week. Like,
you can't hit reset harder.
Yeah, like it almost felt like they forgot they have to field a major league team. They were just like, get rid of it all, and like traded everything for prospects. So I don't know. I don't hate what they did, but we've seen the management not spend when they're close. So I don't know that this gives me any like indication that the future is going to be bright. So even in the Carlos Correa deal, like they get a very mid prospect who's a little bit older, and they're paying a third of Correa's contract, which Correa's contract was huge. So at least they offloaded that money. But then you're like, well, if they have the money to spend, are they really going to spend it? And the answer is kind of an overwhelming probably not. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I go back and forth. I think they did the smart thing, but it's the time's going to tell. Like, you never know with prospects. It's a really tough thing to look at.
Especially in baseball. And I think the Correa move doesn't surprise me as much, just because like I don't think that contract was really working for anybody. Like he still plays a really good shortstop, but like at the plate, he's not playing up to the standards of what he's been, what he's getting paid. But everything else, it just seemed to me like roster-wise, they were kind of in a position to be really competitive. And I mean, gun to my head, I think, probably hitting that sell button is probably the right move if I had to take a side. But in the back of my mind, it's like, hey, the Tigers are... I don't know if that's going to last. The pitching is for sure. Skubal's probably the best pitcher in baseball, in the last 700 days or 2 years, whatever you want to say, however you want to phrase it. But that hitting is pretty inconsistent. I mean, they had after the All-Star break, they haven't been playing great baseball. How can you say with certainty that's going to be a 2-year thing? It's like what you said about 1 year fluke, 2 year pattern. you don't even know. Like, the Tigers really turned it on after the break last year, and they played like 1 year, end of 2024, beginning of 2025. I'm not entirely certain that, like, hey, they're going to be like the perennial winner of that AL Central Division. I can't say that with certainty. So,
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to give one more team that I thought did really well, and this doesn't really include even like the teams that sold. I thought did well. Like for
should
it is
have.
what it is, but I
Yeah.
thought the Twins did okay. Like I wouldn't
Hmm.
grade them awfully. I thought
No, I
the
wouldn't
A's
either.
did well. For what they got. I want to talk about what the Yankees did because the Yankees just got like every closer imaginable. So they got Ryan McMahon, which technically wasn't a deadline move, but a deadline move. And then you go and get Jake Bird from the Rockies. You get Camilo Doval from the Giants, and they just bolstered the shit out of that bullpen. And they also got David Bednar from the Pirates. So now you have like 4 closers on this team. You have Luke Weaver, Devin Williams, Jake Bird, and David Bednar. Like I don't even know who's going to close, but we talked about it before. Like this team should never lose a game with a lead. Like you get into the
No.
6th inning with a lead, there's no excuse to not lose. And while I think they could have benefited from going and getting a shortstop because I don't think Anthony Volpe is the answer, and I think we're starting to realize that.
Hmm.
I just don't think. I just think they did a really good job. And, they didn't give up any of their top 7 prospects. Spencer Jones didn't go anywhere. Cam Schlitter didn't go anywhere, especially for a guy like Camilo Doval. Like you kind of assume that those guys are going to be on the move. Nobody went on the move. So I thought the Yankees did really, really well.
Yeah, and I guess here's a point I have to what you said about like who's like all the closers, right? I kind of just thought of this now, but you notice all of the guys that they have brought in have kind of struggled with closing, within the last 1 or 2 years. Like, look at Bednar, like the best closer in baseball in 2023, struggled a little bit on the back end of 2024, and he's been pretty bad until he got called back up from his rehab assignment in 2025. I think Duvall was in the same situation as him. Devin Williams hasn't been a really good closer so far this season. Like he's kind of struggled in that role for the Yankees, anyways. Not so much with the Brewers, but it's been off and on. But like they've all had their struggles. So it's like maybe this strategy is like, hey, maybe you're not gonna be a closer. You know what I mean? Maybe they'll take on that role better. They're gonna have to. Someone's gonna. So I'm kind of curious to see who's actually gonna win that 9th inning spot. You know what I mean? Because all those guys have had up and downs with being able to close games. And it's not an easy job. You've done it. I've done it. It's not an easy thing to go
Yeah.
do, especially at a big league level. I mean, it's hard enough at any level, right? It's a different thing. So I'm curious to kind of see how that shakes out. But good on them for not selling everything off because I think a lot of people thought they were going to run away in that division. The Blue Jays have kind of been a surprise.
Yeah.
For the most part, I don't think people thought they were going to suck besides me, but they look really good. But the Yankees aren't out of it by any stretch, especially in the AL. It's pretty wide open. But I want to ask you about the Marlins. We talked a little bit about this pre-show as well. Do you think that it is more so like the guys that everyone was talking about moving, like Sandy especially, right? And there are a couple other names in there. Do you think that's them not getting a deal they wanted? Or do you think they're kind of like, hang on, maybe we're not as far away from being a good baseball team again? Like, where do you fall on that side of the argument?
I think it's the first one, to be honest with you. I think they are going for a full rebuild. Sandy is a really tough sell right now because he wins the Cy Young, he gets TJ, comes back, and just isn't that good. And
Hey, he's been
Peter
flat
Bend,
out bad. Like,
yeah,
not
and
even not that good. Like, that's
yeah,
sugarcoating. He's been flat out bad.
and Peter Bendix is genuinely a wizard when it comes to getting trade value. We saw him flip Taylor Rogers last year for Kyle Stowers, who is the best hitter in baseball right now, and Connor Norby, who's going to be a long-term starter for them. So, and that's for a guy that, in my opinion, is not a very good pitcher. So he's fine. He's a good depth piece, but I mean, you got, a guy who's going to be the cornerstone of your franchise for a depth piece at the deadline. So I think it's a matter of teams weren't willing to give what Sandy's value probably actually is because the numbers aren't there to back it up. So I know they stand put and they said, oh, he's going to be the ace in the back half of the season. I think if you're Peter Bendix, you hope he finishes the season really strong and you dish him after
in the
the season.
offseason. Yeah.
I think they have to trade him before the contract runs up. And not that I think that they're like crazy far away, but they're still pretty far away, I think. I think there's a lot of pitching work that needs to be done. And I think the best way to do that is to probably just dish Sandy for a lot of quality prospect arms and see what you can make of it. So, the offense is certainly getting better, and their record is kind of a testament to that. The bullpen is really stinky. The rotation is kind of ass too, because Sandy hasn't been that good. So I think they're trending in the right direction. I really like what they did, but I have to imagine that Sandy is going to be on the move in the
eventually
next year. And I know we say it every year. I mean, him and Luis Robert have been guys that every single year were like, they're getting traded. It's set in stone, and then neither of them move. So it's kind of tough to say, but I think at some point you have to just do it. And I obviously you want good value on him. So I'm sure that was more so the case.
Yeah, I can't believe the White Sox haven't traded Lou Bob. Or wait, they did. No, they didn't.
They said they said they weren't trading it.
I don't understand that. Why don't they do that? See, you called him Luis Robert. You called him his actual name. We've called him Lou Bob for like 5 years. So like I was like, same wait, who is that? Do you have any other teams? There's one more team like I want to bring up that kind of puzzles me a little bit. Like we've mentioned rebuilds. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on the Braves here. And I know that the Braves are like 20 games out, and the wild card race is so competitive that they just are this year's kind of just a lost season. Yeah. Holy cow, though. Like you didn't even try and attempt like a rebuild, like not even a rebuild, a retooling move. Like I know you and I talked about we being a possibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked about it a couple weeks ago or last week or something.
You could have done anything, like nothing, not a single move. Anthopoulos, nothing. I think he slept through the deadline. Like, I just don't understand how you can be like kind of in the shit that they're in this year and not say to yourself, like, there's an opportunity to retool a couple pieces here. And I know Marcelo Zuna actually said no to trades. Like I don't know if he has a
no trade. Oh, okay.
He's got to, because from what I saw on Twitter, he like denied trades. So he's got to have something in there, but I don't get it. Like you had to do something. Same with the Red Sox are kind of in that boat too of like, what are we doing? Like the Red Sox and neither of them, they didn't do anything. The Red Sox got Dustin May and they got fleeced on Dustin May. But that was it. And the Braves didn't literally do anything.
Yeah, like because we talked about it last week, and we were kind of like, well, are there any guys that you see wanting like that they could move? And it's like, well, yeah, you said Sean Murphy, and then I brought up like a couple other of the guys, and it's like, no, probably not. Like mix of good team friendly deals and. It's just probably not the best thing to do. But every team has pieces that you can reshuffle. Like you said, a retool, right? Because like anyone with a brain is like, okay, this team's not bad. They had a horrendous start, and it's impossible to make it up at this point. Because like every year, June and July, it's the Atlanta Braves. And this year it was not. So it's like, I don't think it's like, you don't need to blow it up, but like every team should take some measures to make their team better. You know what I mean? If there's an opportunity there, doing nothing is crazy to me. Like even if you're in a position to not succeed at all, it's like, okay, like let's try to get a little better next year. That's the whole purpose of the deadline. So that being a non-participant's a little wild to me.
But, yeah, I would agree with that.
Speaking of non-participants, I guess in a way, the Nats. Why don't they ever just completely blow it up? Like we brought up the Marlins, and like they didn't, but we could give you good reasons why they didn't. I feel like the Nats have been due for like a complete overhaul of their entire team for like the last 5 seasons, aside from trading Juan Soto the first time. You know what I mean?
So here's my 2 cents on that is that they have their lineup and team right now is kind of comprised of a lot of younger players that came from the Soto trade. Like I don't see any purpose in them trading a guy like CJ Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, James Wood like obviously, like right.
Yeah, they're good players.
Even Keibert Ruiz like doesn't really make sense to trade. Not that I think that he's an incredible player and like if there's an opportunity there, but he gets the job done for you. And then you look at their quote unquote like filler pieces, and they're not trade worthy players. Like I actually went and saw them like 3 weeks ago, and they're in or 2 weeks ago, and they were in Milwaukee. That lineup was ass. Like 7 through 9, I was like, who are these people? They're just like random dudes, like that they just are calling.
Hold them out the stands.
And,
yeah.
And and to their credit, I mean, they traded Kyle Finnegan, which like
that's what I was gonna mention. Like he's a high leverage piece that you could move. Like there's no reason to have a 30 saves a year closer on your team when you might.
Yeah, and like that's the piece that you want to move. Like that makes sense to me. And they moved Alex Call, which is like the next best veteran that you just kind of have in your lineup that's actually worth something, right? I just think they have too many pieces that like aren't worth anything, like genuinely, and like not in like these players are complete and utter ass, but like in a trade market, those guys don't make the team on most other teams. So it's like why would they even bother? I think that's the majority of their roster right now, and that's a team that is kind of in a similar situation to the Marlins. Like the young players that are good are really freaking good. Like James Wood is going to be a monster. And honestly, I think CJ Abrams is a really good shortstop. Like I don't think he's going to be an elite shortstop, but a good shortstop.
He swings a good bat. Yeah. All that stuff.
Like, I am known as like the largest Mackenzie Gore hater in the world, but like,
he's a good pitcher.
Yeah. He's going to give you a ton of innings every year. He's going to give you a 4.5 ERA. Like fine. Like, that works. Like, but those guys are still, in my opinion, too young that it doesn't make sense to move off them yet. That's how I see it. Like, I think you could move off of Mackenzie Gore. I was actually
that's the only guy I would take qualms to. Yeah, like James Wood, obviously you wouldn't move him. Dylan Cruz is a guy like him, not playing quite like him, but same context, right? It's his rookie season, or your second year, whatever it is. Like, you're not going to move off of him yet. I get that. But I feel like Mackenzie Gore is the one guy where it's like, okay, we can move you. We can take a chance at 2. I mean, he's probably worth 2 or 3 prospects at least, right? I mean, he's that good of a pitcher. And, like, you can't even look at your traditional baseball numbers because, like, they're not indicative of how good of a player he is. He plays on the Nationals. Like, Gore gives up 3 runs. They're getting shut out half the time. It's like, you can't, you know what I mean? Like, to me, like the starting pitcher is always the guy you can move. Like, are they probably the most valuable position in baseball? Yes, but like from a team standpoint, he only pitches 20% of the time. If you're not good, there's really no point of you keeping a really good starting pitcher. That's the way I see it, anyways. But if you disagree with that, I mean, I see where you're coming from too. But I feel like he would be the one guy you could move.
I would agree. Like I think it's one of those things they probably just didn't get what they wanted for him. Like I know there were some teams that were calling about him.
I'm sure there were probably 15 teams calling about him. Like, what do we need to do to get this done?
Again, another guy that I wouldn't be surprised to get moved next year. Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of their pieces are either not worth anything or they're like the cornerstones of what their future looks like. So it doesn't make sense to move off of them.
Yeah. And he's not going to be there much longer because he's going to get a fat payday. Like, he's a good ball player. As frustrating as he can be when we put our own dollars and cents on him.
I would never.
All biases aside, he's a very good pitcher.
Yeah.
Anything else baseball? Because I think that pretty much sums it up. Like, Mariners, Blue Jays made some good moves. Like, Mariners got Suarez again. Just kind of funny. It's like he leaves and then you get him back.
Phillies, I thought, did really well.
Yeah, Mets too.
Mets did really well. They filled a lot of holes. And then I thought the Red Sox did horribly. And I thought the Brewers were wildly disappointing, mostly, and not because the Brewers are normally active at the deadline, because they're quite honestly not.
Yeah, they never, like we were talking about it before. It's like that's the same thing every year. They're either not involved or they're sellers. Like, they never get their team any better.
But deadline. You have so many starting pitchers. Like a guy like Tobias Myers right now, they don't have room for on the big league roster. And not that I want them to trade him, because I'm actually like extremely high on Tobias Myers. Mm-hmm. But you don't have room for guys like that. So why wouldn't you try and trade one for an impact bat? I don't know if the going rate on a guy like Ryan O'Hearn was too high for them, but looking on I just don't know. Like I didn't get it. They
can't
traded
do it,
Nestor
man.
Cortez for a glorified pinch runner. And I get it. Like I understand the way that they operate because like you look for value in guys like Andrew Vaughn, like you look for those types of players.
Yeah.
Guys that like would make sense in that role, like Andrew Vaughn, Ryan McMahon would have made a lot of sense. I think Ryan O'Hearn would have made a lot of sense, but again, I saw that they were asking for a lot, so I get why they backed off.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like he's a 32-year-old first-time All-Star. He's a veteran player. Like, yeah.
They've got 64 wins. Like you had,
Yeah,
and I get it.
what
Like you
you're
don't need
saying.
pitching. Like that team doesn't need pitching.
No, they need hitting bad.
We'll get an impact bat. Like I know Caleb Durbin is lighting the world on fire right now. I don't think it's sustainable.
Well, look at Jackson Cheerio. He was the cat's ass for 2 months, and now he can't hit a baseball. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this guy he's hitting 340, and now it's like that always stops. Like you always need bats. Like you need everybody. You always got to try to make the team better, and they just never do. I get what you're saying though about the small ball stuff because they do, and they're relatively good at it, finding guys to make that impact. But
they've got like 6 of the same player.
Yeah, that's what they do. That's good for 1 or 2 spots. Like you can't do that all the time and expect it to work all the time. Eventually you have to sack up and go risk it on a big name. And they never do. Like they lost Corbin Burns over $1 million.
Yes.
Like that's how they operate.
I do think that actually ended up working out in their favor.
I think no. Like hindsight 2020, always yes. But at the time, it's like you guys are idiots. Like he couldn't have paid him $1 million to. Like he wasn't even asking for a ton of money. It's like you couldn't pay enough to keep him around. But they don't need pitching, and it seems like the Brewers. It's like Jekyll and Hyde. Like you don't know which one of the two you're gonna get every year. Because in the preseason, they're always like slated to be pretty average at both, and then one always totally overperforms, and the other one like is so lackluster. And then you'll get like a 2 weeks of they flip flop. Like the Brewers will win games 2-1, and then for 2 weeks they'll win 14-13, and then it goes back to normal. So like they're a wild card team. Like you know what I mean? Not like wild card in positioning. You just don't know what you're gonna get from them, and the management never seems to just. Let's really make our team better. Like a Juan Soto guy. Let's go get him. They never do that. Because they won't pay him. And they can. Don't let them fool you. They can pay him.
They can. Oh, well, yeah.
They can, but they won't.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Yeah. But that's all I got on the deadline. I think that covers kind of the top and the bottom, and then obviously everybody else kind of falls somewhere in the middle or like a little bit of confusion on what some teams did. But
yeah, I wish the Cubs would have just gotten a real starting pitcher.
I really thought they were going to be in for Merrill Kelly. I thought that's the direction that was going to
go. Maybe they were. I know Jed. Who's there? Is it Jed Hoyer?
Yep.
Yeah, he can kind of be a cheap ass. Because he's going to be a cheap ass in November when he doesn't offer a contract to Kyle Tucker and we lose him. But
let it be known that Mike Soroka is going to be a good signing. I'm willing to eat my words on that one, but he's going to be a good signing. So
I hope you're right.
Stand by that. I'm going to stand by that.
I'm not going to flame him because he was on the Nats and he's 3-8, and that is expected when you're on the Nats because all Nats pitchers are 3-8. But I think I don't know if he's going to be that 5th starter. If he's kind of in like a longer relief role, like a Brad Keller or a Chris Flexen, if he pitches well in that, I'm fine with that. Who's the other guy? Willie Castro?
Yep.
Where does he play? Is he kind of a utility guy?
He's a super utility, yeah. Which I think is always
which they could use because like it seems like they've always got one guy in the lineup that's really struggling. Like you've got your anchors, right? Seiya Suzuki's when he's actually playing because he seems to be hurt often. Tucker and Pete Crow Armstrong, obviously, 2 MVP candidates. Nico Horner's pretty solid all the time. Dansby's bat comes and goes, but like he plays at all-star level shortstop, so he's got to play. If he's hitting 200, he's got to play. Like, what are you going to do? Matt Shaw's kind of the one where it's like, I don't really know. Like, it's just really inconsistent. He'll have a good series, and then he stinks for 2 weeks. Ian Happ is frustrating because Gold Glove left fielder just never seems to hit above 250, 260. Who catches? I don't even know who fucking catches for them. Sick fan I am, right? We love Michael Bush. Michael Bush he's the man. But there just always seems to be like a hole at one particular time in that lineup. So I feel like a guy like Willie Castro can at least provide some slug, maybe. I don't know. I feel like he's a 250,
I have
260
no idea what he's
hitter.
going to give them. I don't hate it, though. I'll put it that way. It's just one of those moves that, like, it's a cheap move that I don't hate. It's kind of the equivalent of when teams kind of just pass around a Med Rosario. It's kind of like that.
That's
like
it's
it's like it's never a bad move. It's just like okay.
It's like you probably could have put a little more effort into it.
Yeah.
But, all right, you got anything else baseball? Because I'm ready. I'm itching for some football.
Let's get it.
All right, we're gonna start with the Heisman board. Let me just run down a few of the highest people on the list. I'm trying to see when this article was written. July 29th. Okay. So they might have changed a little bit from what's on here, but they shouldn't have changed too much.
Do you want me to just give them to you on DraftKings?
Oh, I'm reading a Yahoo. I've got it pulled up. I couldn't get it to load. If you got them pulled up, by all means. All right. I couldn't get it to load. I looked on Action Network.
Heisman Trophy winners. I'll just run through the first handful. So we've got Arch Manning, 650. Garrett Nussmeier, plus 850. Cade Klubnik, 950. Jeremiah Smith, 1100. Drew Aller, 16-1. Lenore Sellers, 18-1. DJ Lagway, 18-1. Ty Simpson, 20-1. Julian Sand, 20-1. Carson Beck, 22-1.
Okay.
That's the top 10.
All right. I will start this off by trying to say this as respectfully as I can, I guess. But last year's Heisman was kind of like a by default to me, right? Let's be honest. It is a quarterback-driven award. Like anything is in football. It doesn't matter because the quarterback is literally always your most valuable player. So Travis Hunter winning it kind of seemed like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, you watch college football most seasons, and you're like, oh, man, that guy is definitely the Heisman winner. Guys like Lamar Jackson when they won it. Guys like Baker Mayfield when they won it. Guys like Joe Burrow when he won it. You know what I mean? Like, you watch it, and you're like, that guy is the Heisman this year. Like, almost without a doubt in your mind. A quarterback didn't really emerge. Like Cam Ward, was he bad? No. Was he really good? Would you? I don't know. Probably not. I think he's just the best quarterback in a pretty weak class. Travis Hunter, really cool thing, plays both sides of the ball. But, like, I think he got that award for two reasons. And I'm not trying to say he was bad because he was not bad. I'm not saying that at all. I think the spotlight was on Colorado and Deion and that whole team. Rightfully so, that's debatable. And two, it's that he did both well enough, right? I don't think he was, I think he's a better wide receiver than defensive player, numbers-wise, right? And I think he's going to want to opt into being a wide receiver in the NFL. They get paid more money. So
100%.
Didn't he have 4 interceptions last year?
Yeah, so I actually I agree with you, and it's so much of it. Like when you watch him on defense, he hangs around guys really well because of how athletic he is.
Yeah,
and he swats and picks balls because of the wide receiver. His hands are genuinely unbelievable. So I agree with you. I think he's going to be a wide receiver at the next level. I can't imagine that a team will pay him and allow him to do both. So if you got to pick, you're going to take the wide receiver money. I think it makes more sense. But yeah, I agree. I think he was a good defensive back and a really good wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't want to just base it off of numbers, right? Because that's not entirely fair, especially when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. You're not going to have a ton of interceptions or, deflected passes if you're playing a defense and they don't even throw to your side of the field. In the NFL, you really can't get away with that all the time. And the play calling is so much more sophisticated. You can work guys open. The guys are more talented. But like if you're playing your bye game against whoever the fuck, the other coach is just gonna be like, don't throw it to that side of the field.
Which
right?
happened a lot.
Yeah, and that's not like fair to him to use that as a criticism because he doesn't have the numbers to back it up. But like when you play defense, it's like instinctual, and I don't know if he has that as well as he needs to. But like to me, I think that's kind of why he won the Heisman, right? There wasn't a really good qualified offensive player to do it, like at a quarterback, or I would say running back, but I'll get into Genty next. But like if a really good quarterback emerged, I feel like we would have been looking for reasons to not give it to Hunter, and as opposed to giving it to him. You know, like I feel like the spotlight helped, and the fact that hey, we haven't seen a guy play both sides of the ball pretty well since Jabril Peppers. You know, Charles Woodson won a Heisman too, so like there's precedent there, but like it doesn't happen very often. So that's a cool story. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. I just feel like that's like I don't think that's egregious to say. Like I feel like we were looking for a reason to give him a Heisman Trophy. Genty, 2,000 yards. It's happened before. He played in the Mountain West. Is that a dog shit football conference? By no means. But if he does that in a Big Ten schedule, like he's winning that trophy. You know what I mean? I just feel like there's no real like wow candidate that emerged without any like really big red flags or question marks based on that. So I think Travis Hunter won it a long shot. Cool. I don't think we're getting that this year. I think it's going to be a square, boring, yucky pick. You know, no fun for a better, right? Oh, I can get Jeremiah Love at 50-1, plays running back for Notre Dame. I don't think it's happening. I think it's going to be a quarterback again. As boring as it is, it's not fun as it is. There's two guys I really like. Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, Cade Klubnik from Clemson. Those are the two I have my eyes on. I think Arch Manning is going to be the real popular one. I think Texas is going to be really good, but I don't think he's going to win the Heisman this year. I like Texas to win the whole thing. We're going to get into that next. But I really like those two at the 8 to 9 to 1 level. If I am wrong and it's going to be a position player, I think it's going to be Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State. He's the best wide receiver in the country. Not close. He was a freshman last year, I think. Yep. He was the best wide receiver in the country as a freshman. If he didn't have to play 3 years, he would not be here. He would be in the NFL. I think it's going to be a quarterback, though. That's just if I just don't see. It's so unusual for a quarterback to not get it. To me, it's crazy to expect a quarterback to not get it 2 years in a row, especially with this class. This class is a lot more talented than last year's. And when's the last time we've seen a running back win one? It's been a while. I think the last non-quarterback outside of Travis Hunter was Devontae Smith. It went on Mac Jones's Alabama team. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of the same position with no outstanding quarterback emerging. But who's the guy from South Carolina? Sellers? Is that his last name? He's getting a lot of
Lenore Sellers.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of attention. I don't know. Like, I know he's just a lot of buzz on him, which kind of scares me off of it. I know he's supposed to be really good. I think South Carolina's headed in the right direction. But if that team isn't that good, I don't think he stands a chance. Like, they've got to be really competitive in SEC play. Is that the only guy you like? Yeah, I kind of stole.
No, I really like Nussmeier too. Nussmeier is probably my favorite pick, and then Lenore Sellers is like the one that I'm kind of hanging on to that I really like. And again, I think the issue is that I don't know that South Carolina is going to be good enough for him to win it. Not that players on bad teams never win the Heisman, but especially in the quarterback realm, like if it is a quarterback, it's pretty few and far between. You know what I mean? It's typically like you really got to blow everybody away. And I guess it's possible with an SEC schedule if the defense is really just that bad for South Carolina. But I stand by those, and I 100% stand by your Jeremiah Smith take. I'm licking my chops for my 2027 first year player draft in fantasy football, so I can try and get him because he is an absolute demon. And as much as I like Ryan Williams from Alabama, who was also a freshman last year and just absurdly good, I think Jeremiah Smith is that much better than him, which says a lot.
Mm-hmm. And it's just, it sucks because I just don't think that anyone outside of a quarterback has a real chance of winning it this year. Just like I said, it's such a quarterback saturated award. And
it's also a good quarterback class. So it's not just this is actually a good quarter. Like I didn't like the quarterback class last year. We've said that a lot on this podcast that neither of us thought it was very good. I think this quarterback class is significantly better.
Yeah, and I say Klubnik and Nussmeier because I think there's a reality to where both of these guys are two of the how many finalists they pick? 4, 2 of the 4 finalists.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it this way. Last year, Nussmeier, 4,052 yards, 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. That doesn't blow you away, right? That sounds like just a normal NFL schedule. It's like a pretty good season for an NFL quarterback. LSU was not good last year. Like, did they win 8 games? Yeah, but I think the expectations on LSU were much higher, and like they were a pretty underachieving team. I think they can be a lot better, at least on the offensive side of the ball. I don't see that defense really improving all that much. It's just kind of that, it's kind of like a Brian Kelly thing. It seems like he's always a really creative play caller. He gets that offense moving most of the weeks, and it seems like their defense is always the part that seems to struggle most of the time. Like there'll be a game here or there where, their defense is pretty sound for the most part, but all in all, maybe it's just that 7 overtime game against Texas A&M like 10 years ago that sticks in my head where they lost like 74-71. Maybe that's like just ingrained in my head and I'll never lose that. I don't know. But that's kind of how I see it shaking out. Like you compare him to Klubnik, right? Cade Klubnik is probably the most dual threat quarterback you have in this entire draft, right? He's just like he could have as many rushing yards as passing yards. It could be 2,500 each. 2,500 rushing yards is a lot for a quarterback, but you get what I'm saying. Like he's just as willing to run the ball as he is to throw it. So if Clemson's defense is better, you might not see those crazy offensive numbers out of them. And that's kind of like the big thing for me in kind of determining who is going to win this award, who needs to play more offense. And to me, it's kind of LSU. So I kind of gravitate towards Nussmeier in that aspect. But I don't know if you have any different thoughts there, but those are my 2 favorites. They're kind of vanilla. They're kind of boring. I just think Arch is too obvious. First year starting, it might be kind of a learning experience, even though he'll be fine. I like Texas to win the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
So.
And the plus on Klubnik as well is that Clemson is a clear favorite to win the ACC.
Yeah, they're by far the best team.
You get a playoff bit. Like, I think the new line of logic comes as far as team success. Like, if you make the playoffs, like you know what I mean? Like your team was good enough. And I'm not saying that, if LSU goes out and they win 9 games and they missed the playoffs because the SEC was that deep. Like I'm not saying he won't win, but it gives you a much better chance. And it's hard to believe that Clemson won't be in the playoffs. So I think that just gives him a nice little bump there.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, how often do you see a guy like Lamar Jackson win it? I don't think Louisville made the playoff. They definitely didn't when he was on their team. Like, I don't know even how competitive they were, but he's such a unique talent. Like, how can you not include him? You know what I mean? Different parameters as well. But like I think going forward with the new expanded format, that might be a prerequisite. Like if you're not in the 12-team playoff, you can probably kiss your Heisman chances goodbye. I feel like that wouldn't be unfair to say just because it's so much easier to make it as opposed to the 4-team format. But outside of those 4 we've mentioned, I don't really like anyone else. Like, to me, I'm kind of going in a little biased, which isn't always a good thing, but it's just a quarterback driven award. And a fun one for me would be Carson Beck at 22-1. Not because I think he would win it, just because it would be the funniest thing ever. They ran him out of town. He was going to go to the draft. He backed out. He transferred. That would be so funny if he wins a Heisman Trophy, not at Georgia. Like the pinnacle of college football, and let's go play at the U and I kick ass. That would be funny. But, like, do I seriously think that's going to happen? Absolutely not. But I saw Miller Moss was a popular one last year. I'm not even sure if he's still at USC. I don't really see it, There's guys that are 125-1 on here. That's crazy. Like, who's betting on Billy Edwards Jr. from Wisconsin? 250-1. Book
300-1.
Oh, this is 250. Okay, book it.
300-1.
That might be a sprinkle just because that would be so funny. But Wisconsin's gonna suck. I think Luke Fickell's gonna get fired this year, or whenever. I think he's gone. This isn't working.
The schedule is. I think they're better.
They're going to win 4 games, I think.
I think that they are better, and the schedule is much harder. And all of their coin flip games are on the road, like damn near every single one of them. And they don't get the luxury of drawing like a Northwestern or anything this year. Like they play everybody good in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I think he might get fired.
Hopefully
the athletic department's like, hey, you are getting better, but your schedule was piss ass. So like piss ass isn't hard, not as bad, but I don't know. Like, when you lose more games than the year before, it really takes someone who knows football to see that you're improving. And I don't think there's enough people to. I feel like the boosters are going to get.
Is this year 4?
3.
Or is this year 3?
I think it's 3.
It's hard. Like, I know the old without transfer portal, it was always like you give them 4 years because you need a full cycle.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what the leash looks like this year. Although there wasn't really any hot seat talks last year, to my knowledge.
No, I don't think so.
For a 6-win team. So, I mean, I agree with you, though. I think it's going to be rough sledding. And the over-under wins on them, I believe, is 5.5.
It's 5.5. Juice to the over. I don't think it's hitting. Like, I wanted to play it with the plus money. I just don't. I looked at their schedule. I really don't see it. Like, they could lose to Miami, Ohio if they don't.
I agree.
If they're not ready, they could lose week 1. Yeah.
Yeah. Same with they're at Minnesota. Like, that's always a weird one. They go there and they're, obviously rivalry game. They're there the last week of the season. It's gonna be snowing probably, so don't be surprised if they lose that one. I think they're at Illinois. I want to say they're at Oregon. They're at Bama. It's a brutal schedule. Michigan comes here. I think they have Ohio State as well. So they've got a brutal schedule this year.
They do, and it's really not fair to put your performance in rivalry games on the shoulders of the coach. Because the coach didn't really ask for those rivalries to start. But when you're not a perennial contender like a Georgia or an Alabama or an LSU or an Ohio State or a Michigan, that's what matters. Wisconsin does not have championship aspirations. They might in their locker room, but a normal college football fan isn't we're going to win the national title this year if you live in Madison or you root for Wisconsin. That's a pipe dream. We all know that. We just expect competitive play in those rivalry games. Paul Chryst was a good enough coach, and we fired him because it wasn't changing. Wisconsin was a top 20 team every year. The guy recruited well. We just never took the step. That's why we went and got Luke Fickell. Hey, we took this American Conference team to the college football playoff. Let's take a stab at him. Imagine him at a Power 5 school, now a Power 4 school. And it seems like visually, outside looking in, we're going backwards. I'm not saying we are, but that's the appearance that we're getting worse and worse. And I feel like patience is going to run out in the middle of the season. I don't think they're going to fire him in the middle of the season, but at the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised if they let him go if it's bad.
It's a 4-win year.
I think it's a 4-win year. I think it's gonna.
I agree.
I don't see it. Yeah, I don't really see. I don't see them winning too many of those conference games. Like, I think they'll beat Miami, Ohio. I'm just saying they could lose that game. Like Miami, Ohio.
They always struggle with the non-con teams. Look what
they really do for like
Buffalo
a quarter and a half.
State and a quarter, 3 quarters.
Yeah, well, last year was an exception. Typically, it's a slow start, and then halftime rolls around, they wake up. But yeah, you're right. It doesn't seem like, it's a cupcake game. Miami, Ohio is not a cupcake.
They didn't have a single gimme last year. They may have had gimme teams on the schedule, but they didn't have a gimme win all season. They struggled with all of those non-con games.
Yeah, maybe
they struggled
one.
with Buffalo. They struggled with Georgia State.
Northwestern was the only game where they
that's a con.
non-con. Yeah, but like that's good as long as you win. That's good for your program, right? It's better to struggle and win against a more qualified opponent than schedule like who does Georgia play every fucking year, or Alabama playing the Citadel. Like that means a lot more, right? But just before we pivot to the national championship. We're both Wisconsin fans. I mean, you like Colorado too. You're from there, but like you live here now. You like Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
Middle Tennessee. Okay. That's not like a horrible cupcake either. It should be, but like they're not. Middle Tennessee, you could schedule worse teams in Middle Tennessee.
Yes.
Alabama's a loss. I'd be shocked if they won.
Alabama?
Yeah, I'd be shocked.
I'd be shocked if it's a 1-score game at halftime.
Yeah, I would be too. They'll beat Maryland. I like Michigan this year. I think Michigan's going to really turn things around with the new coach.
Yep. I agree.
I don't know if they beat Iowa.
Is that here?
It's here, but like I don't know if they do.
It's a coin flip, maybe.
Yeah, but like Iowa like took a step forward. They fired Kirk's kid, and that offense looked like an offense. It looked like an offense despite having like the worst transfer quarterback ever outside of Wisconsin. I mean, Wisconsin getting Trevor Van Dyke was the only move worse than Iowa getting Cade McNamara. That didn't work. Ohio State's going to be a dumpster fuck. Oregon's going to be a dumpster fuck. I think they'll beat. Yeah, I think they'll beat Washington. Washington's not very good. That program got gutted.
They're at Indiana.
But I don't think so either, but if that was at home, maybe I think Indiana might be a little fluky.
I agree.
I don't know if they're the real deal yet. The coach is the real deal. He's a fantastic coach. I just don't know if I'm not jumping in all on them yet, right? I don't think they'll beat Illinois. I think they can get Minnesota this year, but optimistically, that's 5 wins. 4 to 5, optimistically. So crazy. I don't know. But before we hijack with our loser college football team, let's pivot to the national championship odds.
Yep. I'll read down the first handful. So you got Texas and Ohio State plus 550, Penn State 7-1, Georgia 7-1, Clemson and Alabama 10-1, Oregon and Notre Dame 12-1, LSU 16-1, Michigan 25-1, A&M, Miami, and Florida at 40-1. Well, you've already spoiled your pick here.
I tipped my hand. I like Texas. I'll let you say your favorite before we kind of break down a few of these other teams, at least the way I see it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Texas a lot. It's hard not to like Ohio State a lot. I know going back to back is very rare, so I definitely wouldn't play it at being the odds-on favorite, if that makes sense. In terms of my logic, not in terms of me not playing the odds-on favorite, but just on back to back, I don't know if I would do that. I do like Alabama at 10-1. We talked about this pre-show. I am also in this camp that the Saban era is gone. I think people are starting to think like maybe
the dynasty's dead. It's
not on the downturn. The dynasty is done. Like they're not going to be in it. I really like
No.
Alabama. I think that's probably my favorite. Obviously that they'll have to get through Texas more than likely, but I think Alabama is my favorite at 10-1.
That is a good. I like that. I like where your head's at there because, like we did talk about it pre-show, the dynasty is not dead, guys. Forrest Gump played for fucking Alabama. That was in the 50s. Okay, like they're really good. But all jokes aside, like Alabama's never been bad. Like what?
No.
A few years outside of Bear Bryant, in between Bear Bryant and Nick Saban, they weren't even bad last year. They didn't have a quarterback. Jalen Milroe ran that offense. The guy could run really fast and throw the ball really far, except you had no idea where the ball was going. He was just as likely to throw it to the other team as his team, but he threw it really far, right? That's behind us. I think Alabama's going to be okay. Just based on history, and I'm a history guy. I think they're going to be okay. LSU's intriguing. LSU is teetering on the Penn State logic for me. How many times over the last 5 years have we heard, oh, this is the year for James Franklin? It's not, by the way. It never will be. But in the next 2 to 3 years, Brian Kelly's going to be James Franklin for me. Like, I'm going to retire from the LSU might be their year kind of thing. He was so freaking close at Notre Dame. He just couldn't quite figure it out. But then it's like, think about it logically. If he couldn't get over the hill at Notre Dame, probably outside of maybe Ohio State, and Alabama, and Georgia, the best recruiting pool you could have. Like, Notre Dame fans are everywhere. They're like Cubs fans. Like, literally everywhere. Like, you can't recruit. Like, you have access to everything. If you're a Catholic, which I mean, there's like 1 billion Catholics on earth, you've got a good chance. Like, if he couldn't get over the hill there, why would I expect him to get over the hill at LSU, which is also like a great college football job, top 10 job? It's just like, I don't know, something always like, LSU, could this be the year?
They always drop a dumb one. Always. Every year they drop a dumb one.
Well, and it's never because of the team. It's always because of Brian Kelly, which is the most frustrating part. It's like, you pay this guy all this money to make the decisions for you, and then he's a... Like, what game was it? Week 1 against USC. There's no reason why they lose. Why do we pass the ball on 4th and cunt hair? Why do we do that? It's stupid. Run the ball or throw a pass the sticks. It's like first grade. But that's what he does. And it's not once. It's usually 2 or 3 times he does that, which is the most frustrating part because, like, his teams are always very talented. But it's just something to always, like, I like them. And I shouldn't, but I do. It's like a guilty pleasure. But, yeah. I like Texas. Georgia scares me a little bit, but I don't think Gunnar Stockton's anything special. Like, Georgia's going to be really good in the trenches. They always are. They're always good at running back, always good on the defensive side of the ball. The wide receiver room's good. It's just, I feel like the quarterback, I don't know about Gunnar Stockton. Like, I wasn't very impressed in that championship game against Notre Dame, but, like, that's really not fair to him because he kind of got thrown into a shitty spot and, like, he wasn't in a position to be their starter anyways. So, like, I'm not really sure about him, but 7-1, like, that's probably the best number you're ever going to get Georgia at until, like, Kirby's gone. You know what I mean? Like them to win the SEC, they're usually minus 120.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, if you like Georgia 7-1, it's like a lottery pick. You know what I mean? It's like, who are the teams at 10-1? You said? Was it just Alabama? There were a couple others you said, right? Alabama, Clemson, and
no, just Alabama and Clemson. And then Miami, Florida, and someone else were 40-1.
If you were to like a long shot, maybe Miami. So I think Miami, for the most part, like playing in the ACC, they have to beat Clemson.
Yes.
Like Bill Belichick at North Carolina, I don't see that being a
Sorry.
a
You've
six.
got Oregon at 12-1, Notre
Oh,
Dame at 12-1, LSU at
that's
16,
probably
Michigan at
I'd say Oregon. Like if you're talking a long shot, Alabama and Oregon would be my two that I'd go with.
Yeah.
Oregon, it's not so much the roster to me, which is good. Like I'm not trying to say they're not talented, because they clearly are. It's the coach. Dan Lanning's a really good coach,
Yes.
and I think he just gets them motivated enough to really just get them over the hump, right? I don't know. Big Ten's really tough because like there are viable paths for like 4 teams in the Big Ten. Like I think Michigan's going to be really good. If you were going to play a longer shot, I probably would stop at Michigan. Like 25-1 would probably be the deepest I'd go. Miami would be like a prayer, but like they'd have to beat Clemson. Like Michigan is probably as low as I'd realistically go. But Oregon's got a legitimate chance. Ohio State, obviously. I think Michigan's going to be right in the mix too. Like I think last year was kind of a dud for them. I think the much more realistic team is the one that beat Alabama in the bowl game, not the team that played all season. If that makes any sense. Which is ironic because all your good players sit out in the bowl game. But I think that's kind of what it's going to be, I like Texas the most just because I think Sark is really taking this team in the right direction. Every year they seem to make a little more progress, right? They didn't play well against Georgia, but to be fair to them, who really does? But they're a good team. And you see the improvements every single year. And every year, people are like, oh, Texas is never going to do anything. And it's gotten better. I mean, how close were they to winning that game in the playoff? It's like, or that was 2 years ago against Washington. Like they were almost there already. So it's like, never know. I like them. I'm not sure why. It's just kind of a hunch thing. It was kind of with Ohio, same thing as Ohio State last year. I mean, I was beating Ohio State's drum since July.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I was on them all season. I'm like, this is the flat out best team in college football. Like, it's not close, and it wasn't. Like they ran train through the playoff. Like it wasn't close. Like the championship game, like the cover was in doubt for like one trip against Notre Dame, but they won by 20. Like the game wasn't close. It ran train through everyone. So I'm going to stick with my gut. I'm going to go with Texas this year. That's my favorite play, but I think I might play Alabama too. I think you kind of talked me into that.
I like Bama. Give me the Tide. That's all we got. We'll have some more college football stuff leading up to this. We're going to dive into some conference winners, probably some team over-under as well as when we dive into the full conference. So we'll probably go team by team, kind of do it that way, structure. So stay tuned. College football is on the horizon. We are about 3.5 weeks from week 0. So we're getting real close to doing live shows, all that good stuff. So you'll want to stick around. For that. Catch us every Saturday morning or Friday night, depending on what we decide on, previewing every single weekend of slates and giving our favorite bets. So stay tuned, and we will see you next week.